For months, we've heard that China wants to diversify its investments away from the $1.6 trillion worth of U.S. treasuries that it currently holds. Last week, during President Hu Jintao's state visit to the U.S., China agreed to buy $45 billion worth of U.S. exports. On Friday, an official with China's Bright Food Group said the company is continuing talks to acquire vitamin retailer GNC. Charles Wolf is a senior economic advisor at the Rand Corporation and senior research fellow at the Hoover Institution. He says this is just the tip of the iceberg, that China is on the verge of buying a number of foreign companies, actually maybe a buying spree here. And he joins us now. Charles, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
You say China, which has bought about 400 companies between 2007 and now, and we're talking about individuals in China, companies in China, and Chinese government-related organizations. You think that that could double in the next 5 years and even quadruple by the year 2020?
Definitely. The acquisitions, over 400 in terms of number, and something over $86 billion in terms of the cost or the value of the acquisitions, has been between 2007 and the first half of 2010. So it's not up to the present time. It's the first half of 2010.
I got you, 2010. But it is a relatively small number compared to the 12,000 and change amount of M&A deals that we've seen, cross-border deals that we've seen in that time. Why don't we see it shoot up even more is a question I was wondering when I read your story today in the Journal.
Well, it's about the Chinese acquisitions, as I say in the paper, are about a little over 3% of the total number of deals. The total number of deals is over 12,400. And in terms of the value, the $86 billion represents about 6.5% of the total value of about 1.4 or 1.5 trillion of the 12,400 deals. If you look at the rate of increase over the 2007 through the first half of 2010, you'd get at least a doubling over the next 5 years. That's probably an underestimate. And beyond that, I think it's full of uncertainty, but I think the quadruple estimate is quite reasonable.
Charles, what I find interesting, and I think about when there's some deals that have come up with Asian countries, China specifically, especially if they're bigger deals, there's a lot of concern here in the United States, yet you still think that there's going to be more deals. Talk to me, though, about, are you expecting to see increased concerns here in the U.S. and also some concerns among Chinese citizens as well as more deals are done by the Chinese?
I think there will be concerns in the U.S. and I think there will be concerns in Australia and in Europe, where respectively the Chinese are acquiring companies with large holdings of natural resources, of minerals, of mining companies, and in the Middle East they're in a joint venture with Iranian companies.
What are some of the implications? What are some of the implications? Because I think a lot of what you write about is, I think, kind of out there. But what are the implications of all of this? What are your concerns longer term here?
Well, we will have concerns that you alluded to, and I referred to as sensitivities in the U.S. and the other countries I mentioned before, about the growth of Chinese holdings. They have concerns in China about the increased holdings by U.S. investors, U.S. companies, and European companies and Japanese companies of listed companies on their Chinese companies listed on the Shenzhen and Shanghai stock exchanges. So there are concerns in both directions. In terms of thinking that the sort of relative sensitivities on our side, collectively, the rest of the world, not only the U.S., and Chinese concerns about the acquisitions by foreign investors in China. I think this is something for the U.S. Business dialogue and strategic and economic dialogue between the two countries. There are mutual concerns.
Okay.
And there are ways of allaying those concerns.
My guess is they're going to be...
Not the least of which ways of allaying those concerns
right.
lies in
Charles, we have
reducing the restrictions that the Chinese place on acquisitions by American investors and other foreign investors in China.
Charles, I've got to break in. I think there might be a technical problem there. Charles Wolf, though, everybody. We're back.